Now, KCAU 9 News starts with your forecast first.
Thanks for joining us on this Monday evening. Here's the view outside now in Cherokee, Iowa, brought to us by our North Star Community Credit Union Skycam. You can see now that field has dried out quite a bit. Last week we did have a lot of standing water from the Little Sioux up there in Cherokee, but conditions are gradually getting better. Looking at our temperatures now, they range between 40 and 45 degrees outside. The planner for this evening shows that temperatures will be falling down into the 30s here tonight. 42 degrees at 7 o'clock with a partly cloudy sky. Should be pretty peaceful out there and seasonably cool, with the low temperature dipping down to 32 degrees. More details on all of those river flood warnings in your full forecast coming up. KCAU 9 News at 6 starts right now.
And down here we're seeing pretty historic flooding. So we've got a lot of different situations going on, and meeting all of those needs gets complicated.
Continuing coverage, the flood of 2019.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Bridget Bennett.
And I'm Tim Seaman. After nearly a week of record-breaking flooding, people are getting their first look at the damages left behind.
Many places in Nebraska are still underwater today, even as river levels are going down. KCAU 9's Jacob Russo is in Niobrara tonight with our top story. Jacob, how are things looking out there now?
Tim and Bridget, here in Niobrara, people are still trying to recover from the flooding that brought massive amounts of damage in its wake. Because it was still early in the year, there was ice in the river when the dam broke last week. And the enormous ice chunks, some as big as SUVs, caused massive amounts of damage. Buildings were destroyed. I saw a Quonset hut that was crushed like a soda can. And roads were also almost completely destroyed in this flooding.
It's nothing anybody's ever seen in their lifetime. Our water system was completely broke. We didn't have water for several days. Electricity was out. Obviously, the road system in and out of town is completely demolished in most cases. So, yeah, it's been a complete upside down for us.
And since most of the roads coming into town are closed off or destroyed, many local business owners fear the lack of people coming into the small tourist town could seriously hurt the town's economy.
Our biggest hope is they get the highways back open as soon as possible so that people can come here and visit us again, really, because we're just short of people.
The National Guard is also in town today to help out with the cleanup and making sure everyone stays safe while they work to reopen the roads. I spoke to some others in town today, and they told me that they hope things return to normal sooner rather than later. Live in Niobrara, Jacob Russo, KCAU 9 News.
All right, Jacob, thanks for that update tonight. Days after Pender, Nebraska was hit by those flooding, people there are getting a chance to assess the damages and begin their own recovery. People who live there say it was like living on an island. All roads in and out of town covered by water, while some of those roads have now been reopened. For Mike and Kim Hoffmeister, the damage is done. 8 feet of water washing away months of work repairing damages from the last round of flooding.
Don't know where to go from here. You know, we're pretty much tapped with all of our funds that we had in our accounts. Just trying to get the necessities back on. This one will be a long time to clean up after again.
The emergency preparedness coordinator for Pender Community Hospital telling us today that 80% of the community was underwater.
And just half an hour north of Pender in Homer, Nebraska, there was much of the same kind of flooding. The community was isolated for a short time as floodwaters covered 2 bridges. It left people of Homer with only one way in and out of town. But thanks to folks from surrounding communities, people stayed safe.
A lot of people listened to if we told them don't go over it, they didn't. And a lot of people come up and asked what they could do and how they could assist or any help needed.
And the floodwaters may be receding for many areas, but the folks will have a very long journey of cleanup ahead before things can finally return to normal.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson joins me now. And Scott, record flooding isn't new to this area, but on such a widespread basis, I believe it's got to be.
Right. It affected so many communities here in Siouxland. We saw those record peak crests here in the region along the Big Sioux River at Haywarden. It was higher than it had ever been before. The Little Sioux River at Cherokee, Lynn Grove, and Turin down in Monona County. Meanwhile, the Floyd River near Sioux City up by James also had a record crest, and the Ocheyedan River at Spencer. Meanwhile, many of these came in second place as far as the highest crest ever. That included the Big Sioux River at Akron and also in Sioux City, the Little Sioux River at Milford and Correctionville, the Elkhorn River at Pilger, and the Maple River at Mapleton. So historic flooding was achieved with all of the rain that fell on top of the frozen ground that the snow also melted off of. So all of that combined to make for a pretty tragic situation here in Siouxland. And even at this time, we still have major flood stages being reached along the Big Sioux and also further east along the Ocheyedan River.
Scott, we'll check back in just a little bit.
Sounds good.
Bridget?
All right. Well, as many people are surveying the damage, wondering where to go from here, communities are coming together to help those impacted by the floods. That's what the Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska is doing right now. Tribe members collecting items to send to the Santee Tribe. They're along the Missouri River near the South Dakota border. The Winnebago Tribe has already made one supply run up to Santee over the weekend.
They were happy. They were pleased. I believe that the things that we took up, certainly helped out the children and the young families that were staying at the casino.
The Winnebago members are looking for everything from drinking water to baby supplies. They're accepting donations for the Santee Tribe. If you'd like to help, we have links with where you can do that on our website, SiouxlandProud.com.
Residents of Hornick, Iowa are finally back in town, with some actually being able to stay at their homes if they're inhabitable, but everyone discovered something the same when they got back in town, and that's the damage. Folks spending the day pulling up soaked carpet, ripping down waterlogged sheetrock and insulation, making way so that rebuilding can begin. The debris piling up as people cling to hope of reclaiming their community.
I guess just life to be back to normal. We live in a quiet little town because that's how we like it, you know, and just back to normal, yeah.
Folks in Hornick were first evacuated last Thursday, that after a levee broke, sending floodwaters from the Little Sioux their way. KCAU 9's Rebecca Pryor is in Hornick this evening assessing those damages, something that Siouxlanders across the tri-state can relate to for sure. Rebecca, what comes next for folks there?
This scene behind me is one that many can relate to. Many Siouxlanders are facing in our area. We have pumps running up and down this street, lots of water moving out of these residential homes right now. And as these floodwaters have begun receding, cleanup efforts are definitely in full swing. But the danger for homeowners isn't over. Residents are advised to use extreme caution when entering their homes, checking for structural damage such as cracks in their walls. It's also important to avoid entering into floodwaters at all costs. Standing water hides many dangers, including toxins and chemicals. I spoke with a Red Cross official on how people can be assured that they're taking on cleanup efforts as safely as possible.
Make sure that they're wearing gloves, that they're using disinfectant, watch where they're walking. If they're going into water, make sure, to take precautions around potential for power that might be, live in that area.
If your basement or house has been flooded for more than a few days, it is fair to assume that mold has already begun to form. Removing wet contents immediately should be a top priority. And for many residents, like the ones right here in Hornick, it's going to be a long process before things finally get cleaned up and dried out. However, you're going to need to use as much caution as possible moving forward. Reporting live in Hornick, Rebecca Pryor, KCAU 9 News.
All right, Rebecca, it is such a long road ahead for so many folks there. If you would like to help out, the United Way of Siouxland Recovery Fund is providing grants to organizations helping those impacted by the flooding.
Yeah, we have those links to the grants and how to donate on our website, SiouxlandProud.com. It really is incredible just to see the amount of damage in all of these communities, so widespread.
And neighbors helping neighbors wherever you look, that's for sure.
Yeah. Health officials and parents are concerned about kids using e-cigarettes.
Today, the FDA proposing new regulations on those devices, how they would affect the industry. We'll take a look at that in about 8 minutes.
And those very high water levels continue to be a big issue here in Siouxland, plus a couple of rain showers are headed our way tomorrow. Then we can look forward to warmer temperatures, 50s and 60s in the extended forecast. We'll share it with you up next.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Tim Seaman, Bridget Bennett, and Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson. This is KCAU 9 News at 6. Now, with Siouxland's most accurate forecast, Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson.
And all across Siouxland today, cleanup is underway from those floodwaters, and at least today, and it looks like for this week, for the most part, folks, it's dirty, nasty work, but at least they'll have decent weather to do it in.
Yeah, some pretty peaceful, average March weather here to look forward to, which is basically just what we need at this point, though there is a chance of some light rain showers, unfortunately, happening tomorrow. Here's the view outside now from our Port Neal Welding Company Skycam. Here from the KCAU 9 studio, where we enjoyed some more sunshine today, but the clouds have been reeled in this afternoon, and it looks like those will thicken up to a degree here overnight. Checking our river flood warnings now, those include along the James and the Vermilion River in South Dakota, as well as the Elkhorn River there near Norfolk. You can also find along the Missouri River, and then also the Ocheyedan, Little Sioux, and Big Sioux rivers here in western Iowa. So we do still have a major flooding situation going on. As you can see, linked between Sioux Rapids and Washita at this time, we do still have major flood stages being reached. Also along the Big Sioux River up toward Akron and Haywarden. Then as you move toward the James River, you can see near Yankton, we also have those major flood stages indicated by the purple markers on your screen. Thankfully, conditions in northeast Nebraska are beginning to improve. As you can see, more green designations. That's where we have no flooding happening. And that also includes down toward Pierce in Nebraska. Just some minor flooding happening at this point. So it does look like the situation, little by little, is going to get better. But in the meantime, we do still have a lot of roads that are flooded out or gone completely in some cases. Make sure that you're moving to higher ground. If you're experiencing flooding, make the best effort that you can, but never attempt to drive through flooded roads. 1 foot of water is all it takes to be able to float vehicles. Never drive around barricades either. Checking our temperatures now, a pretty quiet situation occurring. Temperatures between 40 and 45 degrees. It's 42 up towards Spencer, 44 in Sioux City. Checking in with a current temperature of 45 in Tacoma and 43 toward Carroll and Audubon. Wind speeds not too strong, between 5 and 15 miles per hour, drawn in from the south and southwest. Our satellite and radar shows that as we have continued through the afternoon, we have caught on to some cloud cover and the development of a couple sprinkles here in central Nebraska. Look for those to continue to move a little bit closer to home here as we go through the night. Putting that in motion now on our stormcast, it shows that the clouds are going to be moving our way. Most of this precipitation is going to be falling in central and southeastern Nebraska, but we could see a couple of brief light showers in Sioux City. And we can expect to have just enough rain to wet the pavement locally. That rain looks to shift off to the east going into the evening hours here on Tuesday, and we should have some drier weather to look forward to for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The potential, though, of a wet weekend. Keeping the focus on the short term now, you can see that we are going to have about 0.06 of an inch of rain in Sioux City, more to the south and southwest. There could be some heavier totals down around Albion and Omaha, but generally we're looking at about 1/10 of an inch of rain or less. Hardly anything on the ground in northwest Iowa. The low temperature for tonight at 32 degrees, seasonably cool, southeast winds at 5. Traveling into tomorrow, we'll have a high of 43 degrees with light scattered rain showers at their most intense as you move into Nebraska. Here's the upcoming forecast now. Moving through the next couple days, you can see that we will have that small chance of showers tomorrow at 20% with a high of 43 degrees. 52 on Wednesday, 54 degrees on Thursday as we welcome back in some more sunshine. Clouds do thicken up some, though, this weekend here for Friday when we're going to make it all the way to a high of 60. We'll be able to maintain that warmth into Saturday and Sunday despite the presence of some more rain, and a high of 57 next Monday.
60s. It's been a long time since we've seen that number on the forecast.
Right. Highs in the 60s, so it will become quite a bit warmer out there, which is, you know, something that we were looking forward to for a pretty long time in the month of February.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott. Well, the number of young people using e-cigarettes has caused the FDA to propose new regulations on those devices.
Why the government says these regulations are a good thing. That's coming up next.
This is KCAU 9 News, Siouxland Proud.
Tonight, the FDA is proposing new rules for e-cigarettes.
The government saying that the rules could prevent more young adults from becoming addicted to nicotine.
KCAU 9's Mark Meredith is in Washington with the story.
The government says e-cigarette use is skyrocketing, especially among teenagers. FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb calls that a big problem.
And these products are not safe. No kid should be using nicotine, and no kid should be using an e-cigarette.
Currently, stores are not allowed to sell e-cigs to anyone under 18. Now the FDA wants to go further by eliminating kid-friendly flavors like bubble gum and requiring stores not allow anyone under 18 in the door.
So what we're trying to do is take steps to limit the access and the appeal that these products have to kids.
The FDA says it's allowing the public to comment first before imposing the new rules. And in a twist, the American Lung Association is criticizing the FDA, claiming the proposals will do little to curb e-cigarette use. In a statement, the association writes, quote, FDA continues to take half measures that will not protect our nation's children from the predatory marketing practices of the tobacco industry. Gottlieb says the FDA knows it has more work to do.
This is going to be hard to reverse. We're not going to change these trends overnight.
The FDA is expected to finalize its regulations within weeks. In Washington, I'm Mark Meredith.
An update on a South Dakota missing persons case tonight. Tammy LaFramboise of Yankton went missing back on March the 5th. This weekend, officials in Menominee Township, Michigan, determining that a body they found in a river there was that of Tammy LaFramboise. Her boyfriend, Stephen Falkenberg of South Dakota, has been charged with second-degree murder in that case. Falkenberg is being held in the Yankton County jails. We'll continue to follow developments in that story.
Well, turning to sports, Connor McCaffrey shines both on the hardwood and on the diamond.
Hear how the Hawkeyes balance things out with both sports. That's next.
Now, KCAU 9 Sports.
Welcome back. Well, we all know Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, and John Elway were all great dual sport athletes in college, but Connor McCaffrey is trying to etch his name in Hawkeye history on the hardwood and on the diamond. Hawkeye headquarters Adam Rosso has his story.
After injuries, surgery, and a battle with mono last year, Connor McCaffrey is healthy and back pursuing a two-sport career at Iowa.
I just got to be smarter about how, I eat, sleep, just take care of my business. I just got to be mature about everything.
Ensuring he doesn't get worn out while trying to play basketball and baseball is also a cooperative effort between Fran McCaffrey and Rick Heller.
Basically what Connor does is he tries to come over and hit when he can on his own and then get in here and, play catch and make sure that his arm's in good shape, and then he gets out and goes to basketball. And that's really all we expect at this point.
He's going to be in shape. He doesn't have to go over there and run. He doesn't have to lift. He lifts with us. He's going to want to join that team whenever our season ends and be ready. And if you don't go over there, you're not going to be ready. So he recognizes that.
McCaffrey's provided depth and toughness to the Hawkeyes' backcourt, helping them return to the NCAA tournament. But once the Hawks' season on the hardwood ends, he expects the transition to the baseball diamond to be a smooth one.
I'll be in working, trying to make sure that adjustment is very, is quick and, happens fast for me, so I can, try to pick up right where I left off, and just get right in and jump in and take at bats and, be comfortable and be good.
The guys know him, they respect him, they know he comes in here and gets his work done and works hard when he can. It's tough when you're going to miss probably 20 or more games before you show up, but, if anybody can do it, Connor can.
Reporting from Iowa City, Adam Rosso for Hawkeye Headquarters.
Well, as you just heard, McCaffrey can worry about playing on the diamond after he's done dancing on the hardwood. The Hawkeyes found out they're squaring off with Cincinnati this Friday in the NCAA tournament. The Bearcats are on a bit of a recent tear, winning 8 out of their last 10 games, which includes capturing the American Conference Tournament Championship. Now, Cincinnati is also 6-2 all-time against Iowa, with their last showdown in the 2005 NCAA tournament first round. And Cincinnati won that one 76-64. Now, despite the history, the Hawkeyes, well, they're just happy to be in the big dance.
It's a fun experience being in the locker room, and just to hear your name called, it's a great feeling. I don't really care about the seating. We have a huge opportunity, and once you get into March, it doesn't matter where you see it. We see it all the time.
You want to get to the tournament every year, but we understood where we came from the last 2 years and how much work we put in over the summer and the off season to get to this point we're at now. We won 22 games, which is a lot. We understand that that's hard to do in our conference and anywhere else for that matter. So, we're just thankful to be in this position to play in the Big Ten, in the big dance.
Well, we're going to take a peek at the matchups that you should look at on your radar. As I mentioned, Cincinnati and Iowa square off this Friday, as is Iowa State and Ohio State. They hit the floor at 8:50 on TBS. That, like I said, that Iowa-Cincinnati game is going to start at 11:15 a.m. on CBS, and that Iowa State game is going to be on TBS. Now, just a reminder, folks, we're in the midst of March Madness, as you can see, and with the play-in game starting actually in about 24 hours, you can get in the action for a chance at $1 million. Now, all you have to do is go to SiouxlandProud.com, find the Basketball Madness bracket link. There you'll sign up and fill out a bracket for yourself, and you can see which teams are going to be winning and see if you can compete with Siouxland locals, or you can compete with even people like Kcau 9 and see if you got what it takes to be the top dog. The deadline to fill out a bracket is Tuesday at 6:45 p.m. That's it for sports. We'll be back after the break.
Well, some news to brighten your day. April the giraffe is a mom again. April first became an internet star back in 2017.
She's a 17-year-old mother, as a matter of fact, giving birth to what was her 5th spotted calf over the weekend at the Animal Adventure Park, which is located in New York. Now, it's a boy, we're told. At least that's what the zoo's Facebook page is putting out.
Lots of people watching these things. Park staff snapped this adorable photo of mom and son. Almost looks like they are smiling for the camera a little bit. Up to 300,000 viewers watched this birth, which was streamed live on YouTube. Poor mama, if she only knew. Everybody's tuning in to watch her struggle.
Pretty interesting looking animal, that's for sure.
A lot of attention on the stream, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you can stick with us for our Celebrating Women special right after the show tonight. We have highlights of our local women here.
That's right, local women and those from around the country who are making a difference, especially those right here in Siouxland. Though some of those faces you will know and hear about them in detail.
That's right.
Certainly something good to tune in for.
Yep.
Well, it looks like our flooding situation is gradually getting better, but it is going to take quite a long time. A 20% chance of showers coming our way tomorrow with a high temperature at 43 degrees. After that, we should expect to see some warmer temperatures come into the picture here, 50s and even 60s. The weekend, we do have some chances for rain showers on Saturday and Sunday. Then we'll see our temperatures fall down into the upper 50s.
Upper 50s is still pretty nice.
Some decent springtime weather out there.
Scott, thank you. And thank you for joining us. Again, stay tuned for our Celebrating Women special, which starts now.